Hello, folks. The Grumpy Monkey volume system is a little bit complicated and can take some getting used to. So I thought I'd do a little video just walking through how it works and also walking through some parts that might confuse folks. So first off, how does it work? The plugin looks at MIDI data as it comes in from your MIDI keyboard or from your DAW playing back the MIDI region. It looks at what the mod wheel is doing, and then it sends out CC7 or CC11 volume information to the instrument. Now, there's a couple important things that we can glean from this. First off, the plugin needs to be prompted with mod wheel data. So if you go ahead and start changing your volume information in the plugin, you might notice it's not actually doing anything. Just send through some mod wheel data and you should see it respond. The second thing is that the plugin is upstream from your instrument. And so it has no awareness of your instrument and it can't see what sample player you're using. So this brings us to the first important step, which is before you start playing your instrument, you want to make sure you go into the menu and choose the sample player that you're using. Okay, but why does that matter? Well, it's because every sample player responds differently to CC7 or CC11 information. So, for example, if you set a CC7 value of 42, in Kontakt, your volume will be minus 30, in Spitfire, minus 16, and in SINE, minus 13.6. So if you're not setting the right sample player, your values are going to be off. So let's start with Kontakt. You might be wondering, do I choose CC7 or CC11? In most cases for Kontakt, you want to use CC7. Doing that will control the volume slider that you see over here. CC11 is really just another option for a special case. And that case is if you're using multi-channel outputs in Kontakt, you'll notice that the volume slider doesn't have any effect. So in that case, you could try using CC11, which controls expression, and that should work for some, but not all instruments. It's kind of a matter of how the developer set up the instrument, which is why you'll notice I marked CC11 with an asterisk. My recommendation is only use CC11 if CC7 is not an option. Okay, so let's say that we're in Kontakt and we're using CC7. Now have a look at what's happening with the volume slider here. It just jumped up. The plugin's trying to set the volume to 0, and it does that by sending the maximum volume to your instrument. Now, instruments vary in the way that they're set up. Some of them are going to have a maximum volume of 0, some of them max out at minus 6. This is something that you can change by going behind the wrench, going controller, and then into this menu here. You could pick what you want your maximum volume to be. But for our purposes, what you need to know is 0 in the plugin is going to be whatever your maximum volume is. The plugin should still work the same if your instrument's max is, for example, minus 6. It's just that Kontakt will take the value that you're seeing displayed here in the plugin and shift it down by a fixed value of negative 6. Okay, moving on. So in most cases, CC7 is going to work for you just out of the box. But you will find some instruments where out of the box, it doesn't respond to CC7 volume information, as we could see here with the gentleman. This is easy to fix. We just go into the wrench, instrument options, controller, and then here where it says accept standard controllers for volume and pan. Just check that. And now it works. Okay, Spitfire audio player. So the important thing to know here is it's using CC11, which is controlling the expression slider. If you accidentally have it set to the wrong CC setting, say it's in Kontakt, it's not moving the slider. Instead, it's going to be messing up the volumes up here. So if that happens, you want to just go into the upper right corner and Command Control click, and that's going to reset it. And you want to make sure it's back to 0. And then let's set this to Spitfire audio player, and now it's working as expected. So in SINE Player, how do you see the volume taking effect? Well, we just have to go into the mixer page and just look over here. It's controlling the master volume for the instrument. Okay, on to Eastwest Play. First off, this is not Opus. This is the old standalone player, Eastwest Play. So In East West play, you won't see the volume slider move up and down, so there's no visual confirmation, but the volume should still be responding to CC7 messages. So, one last thing. You might have noticed that the volume range goes from 0 to minus 39.99 to silence. So, why not go lower, like minus 50 or minus 100? Well, it's because the Grumpy Monkey volume system is meant to work universally across different sample players. Taken together, 0 to minus 40 is the most usable range across them. My goal, philosophically, is to try to make a system that bridges the differences between all these different players.